Your relationship started fine, like many would. Hey, Ian, can we talk? Your longtime friend and crush, Denki Kaminari asked. Of course. What did you want to talk about? You replied. In private. Can we talk in private? He asked. Oh, of course. Lead the way. You awkwardly replied. You followed him towards the trees behind the middle school. And I've liked you for a really long time now, and will you go out with me? He exclaimed. You were a bit taken aback. He rarely ever acted nervous or even stuttered while he spoke. Of course. I also really like you too, Denki, you said, looking down at your shoes. You gasped when he pulled you into a big hug. I'll walk you home, Ian, and we can talk on the way back about our first date. He winked, making you blush even more. You both were so happy. But then, you two parted ways. Kaminari happily called you, saying, Yin, I got into UA. I'm in the hero course. Isn't that great? You did? That's amazing, Denki. I'm so happy for you, he exclaimed. So, where are you going, Yin? He asked happily. Well, I don't think I'd mention, since you clearly did much better by getting into UA, but I passed the entrance into what you want. You called it the Smart Kids School, he replied. You should have said so sooner. That's amazing, Yin. You're so smart. I could never get into one of those schools, he said. You blushed. Thanks, Denki. Hey, you promise we won't drift apart or anything, right? Of course not. I'll try to talk to you as much as I can, and we still live nearby. We can make this work, he reassured you. I hope so. I love you, Denki, you nervously said the last part. I love you too, Yin. Oh, I need to go. Talk later, he said. Okay, bye. He then hung up. Slowly, you two became less and less close with each other. You were too preoccupied with your busy schoolwork, and he was trying to become a hero. That's when you knew things were going wrong. You called Denki. It had been a while since you two had talked. You had been really busy with school and felt bad that you hadn't really talked to him. Hey, Denki, how are you? You asked. Hey, Yin, I'm good, he replied. Sorry for not talking to you for a while. School has been really busy lately, and I haven't had a lot of time to take a break recently. You apologized. It's all right. I've been pretty busy too. Why did you call? He asked. I wanted to know if you could hang out sometime at the cafe we always go to, or somewhere else. What do you think? You replied. Sorry, I can't. I've been pretty busy too with school and all, he said. You could tell he was lying. Denki took every reason to get away from the schoolwork. Oh, well, call me if you're free anytime. I'd like to still be together if you were busy. Even if we're busy. I love you, he said. Love you too, he said. But it felt like he didn't really mean it. You hadn't talked to Kaminari much over the several weeks. When you would text him, he seemed to act rather interested. So you just stopped texting him. You could tell something was wrong. I'm hungry, you sighed. It was about noon. I should go to that cafe nearby. They have pretty good food, he thought, feeling like you were being productive at the thought. You got dressed, or at least tried to look somewhat presentable to go out. You left your house and walked down the street towards a small cafe. Not many people went there, and you really only knew of this place because Denki took you there a few times. Thinking about him made you feel sad. He was obviously ignoring you, but you didn't really know why. You reached the cafe at the end of the street. The door jingled as you opened it. You sat down at a booth, and a waitress gave you a menu. It was pretty quiet. There were only a few people here. Yin, you finally stopped by. Your friend, Finn, came over. He/she, it depends on I'm just going to say they because it's easier. Been working at the cafe for a while. Probably suggested the place to Kaminari to get more business. Yeah, I felt like getting out of my void today, he said. How are things going with you and Kaminari? You usually come here together, they smirked. He frowned a bit. He's been distracted for a while now. I can't blame him. I was super busy with schoolwork not so long ago, but he doesn't even talk to me anymore. Hey, I'm sure everything will work out fine. It'll probably just be a bit different at first. They tried reassuring you. You stopped yourself from saying how long this has been going on. Yeah, it just takes a bit of getting used to. That's the spirit, Ian. So what do you want for a drink? They smiled, pulling out their notepad. Your lunch went fine. And Finn even sat with you through most of it. There wasn't really any customers around until the end of your lunch. The bell jingled. Finn stood up to get the menus. As they walked towards the table, they sat in a booth behind you. A few behind you. You heard the painfully recognized voice. This place is super good. I've been here before. I thought it'd be a great place for a first date, Kaminari said to whoever he was with. It seems nice, a girl's voice replied. Your heart broke, and Finn looked towards you sympathetically as they handed the menus. Kaminari, what are you doing here? They said towards the blonde. On a date, of course, he replied casually. What about you and Yin? She asked. We broke up, he lied. Well, then take all the time you need. I'll be back in a bit to take your drink orders. They gave a forced smile. They didn't seem to notice them walking over to your table. Finn frowned. Finn whispered, Hey, just give me the money in the back. You can go out through the back door if you want. You nodded, holding back the urge to begin sobbing. You two stood up, walking towards the door to the kitchen. Looking back at the booth, you heard Kaminari telling some of his usual jokes, making the girl laugh. That asshole. I'm so sorry you saw that, Ian. Finn reassured you once you made it through the doors. I should have expected this. Tears began rolling down your face. He was obviously ignoring me for a reason. You cried onto their shoulder. No, you shouldn't have expected this. It shouldn't have happened. And he's too stupid to see what he's losing. Such a wonderful person. They tried comforting you. You should get back to work. Let me pay. I'll call you later. You sniffed, wiping away whatever stray tears were left on your face. They nodded, taking a total and putting it in the register. You're all set. Let me show you where the door is. I'll call you when I get off at 3. But text me if you need anything before then, all right? You nodded, following them towards the back door. They opened it for you, waving as you walked off to your house. You frowned, pulling out your phone to text Kaminari. You wanted to start crying again, but didn't want to spread attention to yourself. Hey, Kaminari. Sorry that I wasn't enough for you. I wish I could have been a better girlfriend. I hope you and your new girlfriend are happy. You kept walking, feeling slightly relieved that you had sent the text. It was rather vague, you knew, but hurt teenagers could do that. Once you reached your apartment, your phone buzzed in your pocket. What are you talking about? You're cheating on me. I know you are. You put your phone down, hiding your face in your hands as you began to cry. It definitely hurt. Someone you had loved for so long left you and didn't even tell you. And he did it so quickly, too. Almost like he never cared for you in the first place. Your phone buzzed, and of course, you checked it. What are you talking about? I saw Kaminari. You two are at the cafe we always went to. How do you know? For once, his response was spelled right. Proof that he mostly did it on purpose. I was right behind you when it happened.